Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It's so nice to look out and see so many smiley faces on this beautiful day. What a glorious day, given that we just had to, go through that first little experience with the snow. Just a little foreshadowing of things to come this winter. But how grateful are we to be able to live in an experience where we're free to enjoy the elements of our seasons, both through the calendars and in our lives. So this morning I'd like to invite you all to relax and settle in to worship whichever way you feel comfortable. Some people like to get up and move around. Some of you like to just kind of sit and soak it all in. So just find yourself a nice relaxed space so that you can settle in. We're all honored guests here because this worship experience is hosted by Jesus, who accepts us all as equals, valued and loved. We gather in his presence to share our gifts of music, humor, stories, conversation, and prayer. The energy, the goodwill, the warmth is amazing, and the Spirit flows through all of us. Today is the last Sunday in the Christian calendar and Christian year. Next Sunday is Advent and the beginning of our church year. The year ends with Reign of Christ, or Christ the King Sunday, which is today. 2,000 years ago, the question, who is the king, Jesus or Caesar? Two different kings, two different approaches to life. The power of love versus the love of power, concentrating on wealth or sharing it, peace through fairness or by repression. The reign of Christ is the reign of love. Jesus was all about love, meaning kindness, respect, and fairness. All that matters in life is love. When love is right, everything else is a funny way of working out. When love does not rule our lives, nothing works very well. The worship becomes meaningless. So the first half of our service is going to be multi-generational, and then the children are going to be invited to go to youth camp and youth forum with Madison here, and feel free to worship as the Spirit leads you today. We're going to start things off by saying welcome one and all. If you're new to Trinity, welcome to your first experience of worship, like no other form of worship you've ever experienced likely in your whole life. We welcome those that are coming back from maybe being away. We've missed you. And for all of us here that attend every Sunday, it's always great to see your bright, smiley faces, especially when I'm standing up here after long periods of time. I seem to have this sense of calm go through me because I feel like I'm in a safe place, so thank you for that. So we're going to do our gathering music, and this music is written to the tune of Danny Boy. Now, most of you know that song. And so when I had sent the order of worship to be reviewed and accepted by Paul, I wanted it to be a service that could inspire us to understand that reign of Christ, which was a reign of love and fairness and kindness and respect. And Danny Boy is such a beautiful song, but he sent me some words that I felt would be appropriate. And they were written by a good friend of Paul's. His name is John Oldham. And it's called We Journey On. We journey on with hope beyond despairing. We trust the light will transform darkest times. We live the way of peace and heartfelt caring, and glimpse the wonder of what's called sublime. We travel on into the new day dawning. We grieve
winter. We face the winds of stress and change and storm. We live by grace and goodness of the Spirit, with loving kindness as our goal and norm. We travel on into the new day dawning. We grieve and grow through woundedness and pain. We rise to greet the challenge of tomorrow, while we affirm our steadfast love. Let faith remain, while we affirm our steadfast love. Let faith
Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to invite you all to stand and give each other a warm Trinity welcome.
Things on the way back, so I didn't
The threat of snow and cold weather in the forecast is an inconvenience for many, but for our city's most vulnerable, the change of the season can be devastating. Merrick Sutherland tonight on a group of people who takes being friendly to a whole new level.
The air is cooler now at night. Winter fast approaches.
We welcome you all here as part of this great family. And now we're going to sing about that as you make your way back to your spots. All right. Part of the family.
Lost
back into our second chorus. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Sorry there, Eric, we got a little out of order, so. All right, let's stand this and sing this together. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me.
Keep. 1, 2, 3. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus. Let me hear you singing. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. And the people said, Amen. God be with you. And also with you. Lift up your hearts. Lift them up to the Holy One. Let us give thanks to God. It is right to give God thanks and praise. And our Bible verse of the month from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. What does the Lord require of you but to seek justice, to love kindness, and walk humbly with your God? You may be seated. And let us pray. Gracious Creator, thank you for your presence here today as we come together as a community of love and kindness, fairness and respect, to worship and to be present in your spirit. We thank you for the blessing of love. We thank you for the blessing of beautiful skies, good friends and family, and the air that we breathe. We're ever mindful of those that are unable to be with us today, that your spirit be present with them also, and knowing that you are a universal energy that can be in all places at all times, breathing new life and love into all of us every single day. We thank you for this time of worship and learning, and we ask that you help us to lay our burdens aside for this moment in time and encourage us to leave any troubles behind when we walk out this door, turning them all over to you. We thank you humbly for your love, for your son Jesus, and for this beautiful, beautiful life that we have to share together. We thank you for teaching us to pray together as brothers and sisters to our Mother and our Father, who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Okay, now we'll sing our opening hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. It's in there.
Thank you, Eric. Eric is just joining us this morning after months and the final experience of last night's murder mystery. How many of you were at murder mystery over this past weekend? And so when I asked him to do the PowerPoint, because there's things we all have things that we're comfortable with and pretty good at, and then we have other things that we really should stay away from. And one of those things for me is PowerPoint.
and excel. But I know there's lots of you here that have those gifts, but Eric responded and he said, yes, he says, I'll be there, you know, I wouldn't want to leave you in a lurch, he said. And that's so kind, and I appreciate that, so thank you, Eric, because he's experienced my stress, right? with technology, and clearly I have a hard time following things, but we're going to worship and we're going to get all the messages in today. So let's stand together and sing our opening hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. So, it's community time, and we all know what that means. Right, any birthdays or celebrations, anniversaries? We're going to do announcements at the same time, but let's do our joys first and our prayer requests. Oh, Louie! Happy birthday, Louie! You gonna tell us what? You gonna tell us which milestone birthday this was? Are you 40 now? 71. Wow. You do 71 in a row. We're young-spirited, right? I think it might have something to do with, our community, right? Any other birthdays to celebrate today? Or birthdays of the week? Somebody else must have had a birthday.
The youngest of my 3 children is turning 40 on Friday, so that's a milestone for me. All 3 of my children have made it to 40, 42, 44, so 16. Yeah, about that.
Oh, we're young-spirited here. Any other prayer requests at all?
I'd like to send out a prayer request for the Little and Forbes family. They just lost their dad last night, so just thinking about them. And kind of for Ava over there, she looks like she's getting a bit squished, so.
I'd like a prayer request for my sister-in-law. She's going in for cancer surgery on Tuesday.
We're going to have a bit of a video to share with you about our ministry, but in the meantime, let's do our announcements.
Actually, I've got 2 announcements. One is the beautiful quilt will be wrapped up next week at 12:30. So today is the day to get your tickets. After service, Nancy will be out there and she'll be selling tickets. It's a fabulous deal. The other reminder I have is next week is December the 1st. Besides drawing for the quilt, that night we have our hospitality meal. We do have a sign-up sheet in the back because we're asking all hands on deck. It's a big meal. Please try to sign up if you're able to. There are different time slots, different activities, rather than having 50 of us huddled together in a kitchen.
I always look forward to that hospitality meal, and to all of them, but usually we come out for that one. Nancy, do you have anything? Do you want to ask us, Susan? Well, Nancy and I have been working diligently on this is year 5. I was calculating it back. I came to Trinity in 14. The very first Sounds of the Season was 2015, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So this is year 5. And we're pretty excited about it. We've had a lot going on behind the scenes with our performers, a lot of shuffling and everything, but it's going to be a great night. We've got really great talent coming in, and Nancy and I had the blessing of going to Rogers to do an interview this past week. And the vision for the Sounds of the Seasons is to bring maybe a camera in here so that we can get it into the households of the shut-ins, those that would love to experience a good Christmas concert in their home. So we've been working on that, and thank you, Nancy. And we had a great time at Rogers, and they're excited and they're interested. So it's one step forward. There is not a single telethon in the City of London functioning today. We are going to be the first. We want to be it, so that this can be a place where we can bring people into the homes of the people that need to have what we experienced that night. So, and we do have Eric streaming it live, so thank you. And it is going to be
this Friday. We have great entertainers like True Love Ways and Tapestry. The Dorothy Parker Band. Our granddaughter Brianna McSloy. Martin Todd will be here. Quite a few more too. Bob Lismore. Yeah.
We got some new people coming in as well, so that's kind of all percolating right now and getting finalized. So make sure that you're here because you don't want to miss out. And lots of goodies. Any other announcements? Okay, I'm going to turn this over. And I think Eric has a video.
Just so everybody knows, like for the longest time, you've been doing milk bags. And this is what happens, you can go to a church. I got a church I connect with that has the looms and is making these for people to lay on. So, you know, we got a lot of people to thank for the milk bags that you bring in. And also, Eric's got a clip here. It's just a bunch of friends.org is where all the clothing goes to, all these masks go to, and it's put on the streets 3 times a week that they're downtown in areas you and I don't want to go to at night. So, Eric, if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. And thank you very much for what you do.
The threat of
And they keep coming. The air is cooler now at night. Winter fast approaches.
What's this old new stuff? Gently used. Gently used, yeah.
This group once a month sets up tables in high traffic areas for those who are most at risk. But they're not an organization.
We cut ourselves always saying, oh, just a bunch of friends. So that's the name that we went with.
From the time the tables are set, and the coats, socks, and other essentials are laid out, people start coming. And they keep coming.
Jackets, yep. Jackets, yep. Boots.
This is the extent of my winter wear.
Oh, yeah?
Rick Madsen says 150 to 200 people show up on average at this location on Dundas near Lyle. Some have been homeless for a long time. Some just trying to put the pieces together.
Just kind of gotten around with wrong people, I guess. Yeah. Just got distracted, I guess.
But the common thread is interaction. Sure, jackets, mitts, and a meal are great and help out a lot, but there's something even more going on here.
Sometimes all they need is just somebody to talk to and say, hey, what's your name? My name is Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and you too.
Yeah.
To come to help us people takes a lot.
Yeah. I'm good. Enjoy.
The group is hoping to double its visits this winter, but traveling to 2 to 3 locations twice a month will require a lot more sandwiches and donations.
Some of them are brand new. Do you have enough blankets back here?
They hope the new Facebook page and GoFundMe campaign will help with the increase in demand, but the friends will come regardless.
Are you putting this on?
Yep.
That's great. I like this.
You got some cool, eh?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I need sweatshirts so bad.
Yeah. When you do something for somebody that can't pay you back, that feeling you get, it just makes us want to go home tonight. You know, we want to plan the next outing because we had so much fun. See you guys again. Take care. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for that Cleveland Indians hat for you.
It's been said good friends are hard to come by. A bunch of friends, though, are priceless. Merrick Southern, CTV News.
well said.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's, you know what, we all have the opportunity to be Jesus in other people's lives. When you think about it, to be able to be present in that moment and support those, and that is love in action right there that we just witnessed. So I encourage everyone to kind of settle in with that, and when you look in the mirror at yourself, just say, you know, I can be that person to other people. I can be Jesus to other people. I can go out and I can make a difference and show love. You have.
Thank you, Kathy. So just a couple of things, and then I've got a couple of announcements. I just want to say that it's wonderful to hear the congregation sing. I can't always hear the congregation, and I'm going to leave it at that. You can fill in the gaps. But I could really hear you today, and it was awesome. And also the murder mystery I was here on Friday night for the murder mystery. It was great. And the meal was wonderful. Chef Ruth really outdid herself. It was fabulous. Now, in the bulletin, you will see next Sunday during community time, the congregation will be asked to vote on the following. That the congregation approve the request of the Trinity Council to offer a learning site for an intern beginning on January 1st for 8 months for 20 hours a week. This bulletin was printed and run off before our fearless leader called me and changed it. So it will not take place next Sunday during the community time. He is inviting everyone, we are inviting everyone to meet in the parlor on Monday, December 2nd, for the congregational meeting, to vote on this. And then anyone who wants to stay following the congregational meeting for our council meeting, you're welcome to do so. 7 o'clock. Well, then we'll have to move to another spot. Yeah. Then also, our church is going to get decorated this coming week. There's a sign-up sheet on the back table. Please sign up, and there's 2 dates that are available for you to come in and different times, Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday evening, to come in and help Ruth and a few others, but many hands make light work. So please sign up if you can at all on one of those days to help Ruth get our church decorated for our Christmas season. And the other thing is from Rob Stevenson. He's asked me to announce that beginning next Sunday and every Sunday up until January the 12th, he will be here to accept, to sell tickets and to accept your money for the trivia that's coming up on January the 18th. So that's starting next Sunday. Thank you. It is a busy place. It's all good.
It is all good. All right, lots of great things going on here at Trinity and lots of things to look forward to. And one of those things is Curtis, because Curtis is going to sing a beautiful song for you while we take our morning offering.
I better be good.
Better be good.
When we can't find the time to spend being lovers and best of friends, when we can't seem to make it work, when we can't find the words, love will, love will, love will, love will. There'll be times that we disagree about the way things are supposed to be, when we can't find a common ground, when we can't work it out, love will, love will, love will, love will. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, earthly possessions, they turn to rust. When the world won't recall our name, one thing will remain, love will, love will, love will, love will, love will.
all stand together and sing our offertory prayer, What Can I Do?
What can I do? What can I bring? What can I bring? What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? I'll sing with joy. I'll sing with joy. I'll say a prayer. I'll bring my love. I'll bring my love. I'll do my share. What can I do? What can I bring? What can I say? What can I say? I'll sing with joy. I'll sing with joy. I'll say a prayer. I'll say a prayer.
And the people said, Amen. You may be seated.
Good morning, everyone. Beautiful morning it is, too. Our scripture reading comes from Colossians 1, verses 11 to 20. Being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, so that you may have great endurance and patience, and giving joyful thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of his holy people in the kingdom of light. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things that have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. Blessed be the words of the Lord.
Okay, so I'm going to gather the young ones down here at the front. How you guys doing this morning? You're yawning. Are you a little sleepy? Huh? A little bit? Were you out seeing parades this weekend? Santa Claus parades? So this morning we're talking about love. And love is such a powerful thing, isn't it? But do you ever get afraid? Do you ever get afraid? A little bit afraid sometimes? Do you? Come on over here and tell me what it is that you get afraid of. Come on over. Come on over. Come and join us. Or you can hide shy. He's shy. Sometimes I get afraid. Yeah? What do you get afraid of? You're afraid of the dark. Okay. Are you too?
Sometimes I get afraid when I am near a new student at my school and they look really nice, but I don't know what they act like, so I don't know if they're gonna be nice to me. So I get a little shy and afraid whenever I go around a new person. But luckily for me, nobody's ever been mean to me who's new.
And do you think that's because you're always so kind to them?
Yeah.
Sometimes we can be afraid of things because we're unsure, right? Like being afraid of the dark, right? Or being afraid of approaching somebody and not knowing if they're going to be kind back. But we should always be kind anyway, right? And if you're shy, like Willie, a little shy. I can be a little shy too, although I don't think anybody here would probably agree with that, but I can be a little bit shy.
I can remember being in school and being shy around new people, and also I still sometimes get a little bit afraid of the dark. Well, that's great. So what I learned to do when I was afraid or feeling kind of, uncomfortable, when I was a little girl, my mom taught me to pray. Right? I would go to church just like you guys. We would come to, and I'd go off to Sunday school, and it was a lot of fun. And every night I would just thank God for a beautiful day, and I'd say to Jesus, please keep me safe tonight. Let me not be afraid, or let me have the courage to say hello to that new student in school. Right? The first time I prayed, I was praying for a new bicycle, and that didn't work out. I love to watch movies, so I brought this. You're probably wondering why I'm carrying this around. I like to watch movies, and when I was a lot younger than I am now, a couple years ago. My favorite pizza, Hawaiian. And so, thanks for asking. My favorite movie of all times, when I was younger, was a movie called E.T. Do you know that movie? Do you like it? It's really great, isn't it? Do you like that movie, E.T.? I loved it. And the thing I loved most about E.T. was his heart. And that the people that found him they're a little bit afraid too. They were a little afraid because he looked different, didn't he? Well, that's it. But they just thought he looked different. They didn't realize he was an alien, but he just looked different. So other people might have run away from him afraid, but not those kids. They said, oh, here's somebody that looks lonely and scared. We should go and talk to him and make him safe and keep him warm and look after him. And they became the best of friends. And if you remember E.T., his heart was so big, and whenever he felt love, look what happened. His heart light came on. And when you feel loved and safe, does your heart light feel like it comes on? You feel warm inside, and you feel love, right? We can all be that person. Even if someone looks different or is a little different than us, they're all the same inside. So your heart light can help turn their heart light on, right? So that's something to think about when you go off to your Sunday camp today. How can you help someone's heart light glow brighter by being kind and loving, just like Jesus did?
My idea of why his heart glowed was probably because the Spirit of God went right into his heart, and he felt it go all through him, and it made it glow.
You're very right. And we all have that heart of God in us, right? We can be Jesus to everybody and just be kind, right? And then if our feelings get hurt because someone's not kind back, we can just say, please watch over them. Father, watch over them. You can pray for them, right? And then their heart light will glow because you're praying for them.
I think God was the one who made the flower die when he died. I think that's because.
Yes. But then he came back, right? And then he went home, right? Just like Jesus went home. That's right. So lots to talk about when you go to your camp. So Madison and Tay are going to take you down. And you guys are going to have a nice time down there. And we're going to see you a little bit later, okay? That be okay? All right. Okay. And now we're going to hear from our choir.
Sherry.
So before we move on to the next part of our program today, our worship service, I forgot to make a really important announcement, and it's with regards to the first Monday of the month, December the 2nd, for the Ladies' Circle. And if I don't make this announcement now, it's going to be too late next Sunday because it'll be the next day, and that won't be fair. So we're going to be gathering in the parlor, probably about 5:30. You'll notice in your announcements it says 7, but we're going to gather about 5:30 for our annual potluck. So for all those ladies that are out there that would like to come and join us, you are more than welcome. Just show up, bring whatever, and let's get together and share in some fellowship and have our last annual Ladies' Circle. So,
the congregational meeting then will take place in the sanctuary.
in the sanctuary? Okay, so the congregational meeting will be in the sanctuary. So we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'd like to ask my good friend Nancy to come forward. I'm going to get you a microphone, Nancy. Yeah, it's on. Yep. Okay. So we've done this a couple of times where we've asked someone within our congregation if they would be open to share with you their story and how it connects with today, that story of love and kindness and forgiveness. And so I asked Nancy, and Nancy and I have been journeying together for about 5 years now and have journeyed through some mountains and some valleys together. And I've watched Nancy, and I aspire to, understand more about Nancy every day because she fascinates me. And there perhaps is a lot, some things that you don't know about Nancy. So we came up with 3 questions, and so I'm going to ask the first one.
Okay.
And that is, how long have you been attending Trinity?
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be 11 years in the spring. Wow. Yeah, so quite a while. And I started, actually it was my journey to Trinity was a little bit, I guess, lots of detours and bumps in the roads and things like that. My sister Lori, who comes here, and she's been coming here for a long time. I think that was Sunday school for Molly, so that's how far back she goes. And she'd invite me to come. And then my good friend Rodney, who Rodney and I worked together at East Side Story as writers. And he started telling me about how great Trinity was and about his band that was at Trinity and everything, and he'd invite me to come, and okay, I'll come. Just going back a bit, I grew up in a United Church. It was a little country church by Sauble Beach, and in those days, church really was the hub of the community. Like, it was a rural area, and I would say that probably 75% of the people in that farming community were United. So the church was the hub, and I think that stayed with me for all of my life, really. Jack and I were married by a United Church minister, Charlie Scott, who was wonderful. But then our kids, Jack's family were Anglican, our kids were christened Anglican, but I just kept sort of drawn still to the United Church. And so anyhow, I kept saying to Rodney and to my sister, okay, yeah, I'll try it, I'll check it out someday, I'll check it out. And then I was asked to do a story for a Christian-based magazine, and they wanted something on something that youth or children were doing in the community. And at that time, Molly and my niece and my granddaughter Lexi were members of the Green Team here. So I found out more about that. I met with Kat, did the interview with her, did the story, and then I had to come in and do a picture. And that was like herding cats because we were downstairs. It was Green Team night. I think we finally got Jackson glued to the floor for a few minutes so that we could get a picture. And then we lost Paul. So then we had to go and find him. So I think I was here. I think it took longer to get one picture than it did to do the whole story. But anyhow, I thought, gee, I kind of like what I see. So I'm going to check it out. So the following Sunday, and Jack was still working, so he was traveling at the time. So I phoned friends of mine, Brahma and Akshar, they're monks, and I said, I want to go to church, but I don't want to go by myself. Will you join me? So they did. And I remember I sat right behind where Eric is sitting. So it's the one and only time I sat at the front. And they opened the service with a Celine Dion song. And Ron was sitting there and he said, "You got it. You're in a safe place here." So, and I just kept coming back. And then I got involved with the newsletter and a few other things here. And then I started working at Trinity part-time just over 3 years ago. Wow. So that's kind of the journey to get here.
So you've been here for 11 years. You've been part of the team pretty much all that time. You started working with the church a little bit part-time. You've done so many things here at Trinity. You've given so much of yourself and all your time and talents.
Thank you.
And so I guess the next question is, because they're all kind of like giving statements, right? You are a pure giver, right? And a volunteer extraordinary. You've had a lot of deep connections in the community in the city of London as well, doing various things in the city outside of this community. But what has coming to Trinity that 11 years ago done for you? What does it mean to be part of this community inside here?
I like that heart, by the way. So it's done so much for me. It's really, it's given me a lot within my spiritual journey. My belief, my faith has just grown and grown and grown. And it's not just showing up like on Sundays. It's the people here, like Trinity is my family. And the people of Trinity. And I've learned so much from so many people. And again, going back to, like I was saying, as a child, church was the hub of the community. And to me, that's something that's really important. And so when I see the different things going on here, like, for example, Murder Mystery last night, Sounds of the Season coming up, that's all a part of it. That's all part of the spiritual journey, in my opinion, because it's bringing people together. You have that fellowship.
And the third, so I guess you kind of answered that with the next question was going to be what inspires you spiritually. So what does drive you? What keeps you going? Because you are very, very deeply involved. And so what is it that keeps you fueled to be able to keep going forward?
I think there have been so many times like that my prayers have been answered, and just the faith that I see that other people have, and it just all becomes a part of me, and it's a journey that I couldn't have done on my own.
Thank you, Nancy. And I'm going to speak for myself, but probably there are others sitting going, I can probably attest to the fact that we're very grateful to have you here and to be sharing in your gifts and your commitment and your love. And you are the essence of Jesus in this world and in this community. And we thank you for all of that, because sometimes people go about and they don't, they don't have anyone really say, we love you and we're grateful for you. And I'm personally very grateful for you. I'm grateful for our friendship, and I'm grateful to be able to work alongside of you in a nice, safe place where we can be, a team. And so thank you for that and for being so you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for doing this interview this morning.
I feel the same with everyone. Just thank you to everyone. Like, I think every person has taught me something. Yeah, so.
Awesome, Nancy. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
So together we can achieve so much in this life, and I know that there's a lot of you here that give of yourselves every day for our vision here at Trinity, whether it's to take a picture or just to say hello to someone when they're coming through the door. I've seen each and every one of you in acts of kindness, and that's just kept me inspired, and Nancy's definitely been a big inspiration to me personally and to others. So we're going to move into our time of prayer. Let us pray. Gracious, gracious Creator, Father, God, Holy One, love and light and energy of this world, we thank you for so many blessings. We thank you for this time together of learning and growing, for the music, for the laughter, for the moments of deep reflection, for all of those that are struggling, that need us to step forward and be part of their journey. We especially think of this time of year as we're entering into Advent, when we celebrate the reign of Christ and the church calendar changes, and we're reminded that we too can be that change and love to others. We recognize and lift up both those prayers spoken today for loved ones that are struggling, facing cancer surgeries, or facing the loss of loved ones. We also ask that you hear our silent prayers as we take a moment of silent reflection. Lord, hear our prayers. We're only human here walking this human existence, and we think about the reign of Christ as a child born onto this earth that walked and ran and prayed and played and loved beyond love. Was stoned and treated unfairly. He was feared, but he stayed true to his promise to his Father to lead with love, to lead with kindness, fairness, and respect, to advocate for those that were broken and lost in this world, just as we can do in the street ministries that are going on in this city. We can be present in spirit for those that are suffering, and we can celebrate the joys with those that are celebrating. Let us be that light in the world. Let us continue to strive to be Jesus in this world, to be love, to be light, and to lead with our hearts always. We know life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. We do know that. We know that we all face challenges, and we all walk through valleys, and we all get to those mountaintop moments where we show in gratitude. Let us learn to be grateful for those valley moments as well, because they're going to teach us. And at those dark times, let us continue to look forward, seeking the light, and to come alongside with each other and those out there in this hurting world. A kind word, a smile, a gentle touch, or just to be that presence sitting by a bedside, or that phone call that says, I was thinking about you today. We thank you for the many blessings, the blessings of this community of Trinity and all our brothers and sisters that are out there spreading kindness like confetti all over the world, and we thank you for that. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, and we thank you for this time of fellowship. Amen. Now let's all stand together and sing our closing hymn, Amazing Grace.
is bounteous and is meant to be shared by others. So be that light in the world. Be that light and be blessed, be safe. And know that you are God's precious child. We are all created by the Creator, created to be creative and to appreciate the creation which is our earth and all those that travel this journey with us on this plane. Go forward, enjoy each and every breath that you take, and use it to fuel you to be that love of Christ in the world. Let's all sing our closing party.
Sounds of the season. Please don't forget that. Curtis, please bless us with a Christmas gift.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll feel so blue just thinking about you. Decoration of red on a green Christmas tree won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. So when those blue snowflakes start falling, that's when those blue memories start calling. You'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white. But I'll have a blue, blue Christmas. Yes, I'll have a blue, 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 blue Christmas.
We will see you here Friday night.